Everything started with a strange silence that spread through the gospel community like a quiet storm. People were still talking about the unexpected statement that Tye Tribbett made a few days earlier, and because of that single moment, all eyes quickly turned toward Donnie McClurkin. Fans kept asking the same question again and again: why is Donnie not saying anything? Even those who were not very active in gospel music began to sense that something serious was happening behind the scenes. The air was heavy with curiosity, and social media was flooded with comments and theories. Some people believed Donnie was staying silent because he was angry. Others thought he was hurt, and a few insisted he was just taking his time before saying anything. For many years, Donnie McClurkin and Tye Tribbett were seen as two voices that carried the heart of gospel music in their own unique ways. Even though their styles were different, their paths often crossed, and whenever they did, people felt a kind of natural respect between them. Donnie was the calm, steady voice that brought comfort to millions, while Tye carried an energy that could lift a whole crowd to its feet. Their differences made them interesting, and their similarities made them close. Behind the scenes, the two had shared moments that fans never knew about. They had encouraged each other during tough seasons, celebrated each other's wins, and even offered quiet advice during personal challenges. Many young artists looked up to them not only for their music, but for the brotherhood everyone assumed they shared. And for a long time, that assumption wasn't wrong. They were never the type to publicly show every detail of their friendship, but those who worked around them knew there was a bond. It wasn't just about music, it was about understanding the pressure, the expectations, and the weight that came with their calling. That's why Tye's recent statement felt so surprising to everyone. People couldn't imagine tension between two artists who always seemed aligned in faith and purpose. But friendships, even the best ones, can face quiet storms. The tension truly began the moment Tye Tribbett made a statement during a live conversation that caught everyone off guard. It wasn't planned, and it didn't sound rehearsed. He was answering a simple question about the people who had influenced him the most, and somewhere in the middle of his thoughts, he shifted toward a memory involving Donnie McClurkin. His tone wasn't angry, but it carried a hint of disappointment that listeners instantly picked up on. Tye spoke about a time years ago when he was unsure about a major decision in his career. He explained that he went to Donnie for guidance, believing Donnie would understand his situation better than anyone else. But according to the way Tye phrased it in the live session, Donnie's advice back then left him confused and feeling unsupported. He said something like, "I learned that not everyone you look up to will always see what you see, even when you think they should." The comment wasn't direct, but it was clear enough that people began connecting the dots. Listeners replayed the clip, and within minutes, social media started spreading it everywhere. People began saying that Tye was talking about Donnie in a negative way. Some fans felt Tye was simply being honest. Others believed he shouldn't have mentioned it publicly at all. The more the clip spread, the more dramatic it became. Some pages twisted the story, adding their own ideas, making it sound far more serious than it actually was. Rumors grew fast. They had a fallout, there was an argument, or they stopped talking years ago. None of these things were confirmed, but that never stopped the internet from building its own version of the truth. Even though Tye didn't insult Donnie, his words were enough to create doubt, questions, and tension. And because Donnie chose not to say anything immediately, people assumed the worst. The moment Tye's statement went viral, the story took on a life of its own, and suddenly something that began as a small, honest reflection turned into a public conversation about their friendship, their past, and what might have gone wrong. But nobody yet knew how Donnie felt about any of this, which only made his silence feel heavier. As soon as Tye's words began circulating online, the public reaction exploded in every direction. Within hours, fan pages, commentary channels, and music forums were filled with discussions. Some people supported Tye and said he was simply sharing his truth. Others defended Donnie and insisted that he would never intentionally misguide someone, especially a younger artist he respected. What started as a small moment in a live chat slowly turned into a heated debate that spread across every corner of social media. Different stories began forming. Some fans claimed they always felt there might have been hidden tension between the two artists. Others said this was nothing more than a misunderstanding that was being blown out of proportion. A few people even began to create theories based on old interviews and random clips, as if they had found evidence of a conflict that had never actually been confirmed. It didn't matter that most of it was guesswork. Once a narrative catches fire online, it grows whether it's real or not. The gospel community, which is normally a place of unity and support, suddenly felt divided. People posted long comments about loyalty, friendship, and what they expected from leaders in music ministry. Some said Tye shouldn't have said anything publicly if the issue was personal. Others insisted Donnie owed fans an explanation if there truly had been a moment that caused hurt years ago. And through all of this noise, one thing kept escalating: the question of Donnie's silence. Every day that passed without a response made people even more curious. Some fans worried that Donnie was hurt by the sudden attention. Others believed he might be trying to protect both his legacy and his relationship with Tye. Meanwhile, a large group simply wanted clarity. They wanted Donnie to speak, even if his answer was calm, simple, or brief. But Donnie said nothing. Not a post, not a comment, not even a hint. And the silence made the situation feel bigger than it probably was. The longer he stayed quiet, the more the public began to believe that something meaningful had happened behind closed doors. The noise kept rising, and the pressure on Donnie grew stronger, setting the stage for a moment everyone knew was coming. The moment when he would finally break his silence. As the discussions grew louder and more complicated, Donnie McClurkin remained completely silent. For someone who was usually open with his supporters, this long pause felt unusual. Fans kept checking his social pages, expecting at least a small message or a simple note saying he was aware of the situation. But there was nothing. Not a word, not a hint, not even a short reaction. His silence became its own mystery. People close to the industry started sharing that Donnie had seen everything, but chose not to respond right away. Some said he wanted to make sure he understood the situation clearly before speaking. Others believed he was taking time to calm his emotions, so he wouldn't say anything out of hurt or frustration. Those who knew him well said he was the type of person who preferred peace over conflict, and he never liked reacting quickly, especially when feelings were involved. Meanwhile, the public didn't know any of this. All they saw was that Donnie was absolutely quiet, even while his name was trending everywhere. This silence made fans even more anxious. They were used to Donnie's honesty, his gentle guidance, and his ability to speak with wisdom. So when he didn't say anything, it created the sense that something deeper must be happening inside him. People began imagining him sitting alone, replaying Tye's words, wondering if he had ever hurt his friend without realizing it. Some imagined him confused, unsure how his intentions from years ago had suddenly become a public topic. Others thought he might be trying to protect Tye, choosing silence so that the situation wouldn't get worse. The longer Donnie stayed silent, the heavier the atmosphere became. Supporters wrote long messages telling him they were praying for him. Others begged him to speak up because they believed his voice could bring peace to a situation that was getting out of control. Even people outside the gospel world started watching closely, curious about how such a respected figure would respond to a moment that felt both emotional and complicated. But what no one realized was that Donnie wasn't avoiding the conversation. He was preparing. He was thinking through the years, remembering every moment with Tye, and trying to understand the real meaning behind the statement. He wanted to speak with clarity, not confusion, with grace, not anger, with truth, not emotion. And when he finally decided he was ready, the world would soon find out that his silence wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a sign that he wanted his response to bring healing, not division. Donnie McClurkin finally decided it was time to speak. When he released his statement, it wasn't dramatic or emotional on the surface, but it carried a depth that showed he had thought about every word carefully. His voice was calm, steady, and full of sincerity. People immediately sensed that this wasn't just a response. This was something he had carried in his heart for a long time. Donnie began by explaining why he stayed silent. He shared that he didn't want to react quickly out of confusion or pressure. He wanted to listen, understand, and reflect. He said that when he first heard Tye's comments, he felt surprised but not angry. He needed time to look back at the moment Tye was referring to remember what truly happened, and to consider how his words all those years ago might have affected someone he cared about. Then Donnie spoke directly about the situation. He explained that the advice he gave Tye many years ago came from a place of concern. At that time, Tye was facing big decisions, and Donnie tried to guide him in the way he thought was best. But Donnie also admitted that he might not have fully understood what Tye was feeling in that moment. He said he now realizes that even good intentions can sometimes create confusion if both people aren't seeing the situation the same way. In the most heartfelt part of his message, Donnie shared a private detail that no one knew. He revealed that after giving Tye that advice, he had actually worried about it for days. He wondered if he had said too much or not enough. He said he wished he had checked on Tye afterward to make sure he felt supported, but life moved fast, and the moment passed. Hearing Tye talk about it years later made him see how small moments can leave lasting marks. Donnie didn't blame Tye. He didn't dismiss the feelings behind the statement. Instead, he acknowledged them with grace. He said he respected Tye's honesty and appreciated that he trusted the world enough to share something personal. He also said that misunderstandings are a natural part of relationships, especially ones built over many years. By the time Donnie finished his message, the tone of the entire situation had changed. His words didn't just answer the public, they softened the tension. They brought understanding. They reminded people of the humanity behind their favorite artists. His response was not explosive or defensive, it was thoughtful and healing. And because of that, everyone knew this was the moment where everything began to shift. After Donnie shared his side, the atmosphere around the situation changed completely. For the first time since Tye's statement surfaced, people could feel the real emotions behind both stories. Donnie spoke with a softness that didn't hide how he truly felt. He admitted that even though he wasn't upset, hearing Tye's words made him look deeper into himself. It reminded him that sometimes people don't remember the exact words you say. They remember how you made them feel. Donnie explained that his intention was never to confuse or discourage Tye. In his heart, he believed he was giving wise guidance at the time. But he also admitted something very honest. He wasn't perfect. He said he was human, just like everyone else, and humans make mistakes even when they mean well. He didn't try to protect his image or pretend he had always made the right choices. Instead, he opened up about the weight of responsibility he carried as someone others look up to. He shared that through the years, he had learned that love, support, and mentorship are not about always being right. They are about being present, being honest, and being willing to make things right when misunderstandings happen. His words didn't feel rehearsed. They felt like they came from a place of maturity and genuine care. Then he spoke about Tye directly. He said he admired Tye's boldness, passion, and loyalty. He said he never once doubted Tye's heart, even if they saw things differently at times. Donnie explained that true friendships and true brotherhood are not measured by how perfect they are, but by whether they can survive uncomfortable moments. He said their connection had been tested before, and it always found a way to heal. In a softer tone, Donnie admitted that Tye's comments had made him reflect on things he had pushed aside. Not just about their past conversation, but about how easily people carry silent wounds without ever showing them. He said he felt grateful that the truth finally came out because it gave them both a chance to understand each other more deeply.